Hello and welcome to this walkthrough for the demo piece Stealing the Medallion by Steffen Brinkmann. This tutorial focuses on creating a complex, colorful orchestration using traditional instrument patches and what instruments make up the arrangement. This composition was fully realized using keyswitch and single patches from the orchestra. Everything you hear is out-of-the-box sound, with minimal EQ adjustments and a subtle reverb on the master. The only addition to the instruments of the orchestra is the sansula from a Sonoscore Origin series to add a bit of unique color to the mix. Many of the parts, especially the main lines, were performed live on a keyboard using the increased playability of the multi-key switches. The piece was produced in a simple template with only 20 tracks and every key switch instrument assigned to a separate track. Since everything plays together out of the box, a template like this can easily be set up in just a few minutes. So let's have a listen to the complete track first and then dive into the separate elements of the score. So that was the full piece. Now let's look at the different parts separately and see what's going on there. This first section is based on a simple pizzicato rhythm laid out across the different string sections. As with all short articulations, the dynamics are controlled using the key velocity. To fill this out and add more color, the horns will provide additional rhythm, and woodwinds accentuate the latter part of the phrase. All of these are realized using the staccato articulations. With some additional accents played by the harp and sansula, the arrangement around the melody is complete. The melody itself is played by the bassoon, making a lot of use of the keyswitch function. Notice how the part switches between staccato and legato articulations to suit the phrase. The quick runs at the start of the phrase, as well as the short notes, are using the staccato articulation, while the last two notes are legato to create a more realistic phrasing. The same method is used next in the clarinet part, but this time alternating between marcato and staccato articulations. In this section, first violins, violas and celli are switching to tremolo, and second violin pizzicatos help keeping the pulse going in the background, together with the flute staccatos. Now we return to the original pattern, with a couple of doublings in different sections to lead to the next idea. In this part, the strings keep a steady, staccato rhythm together with the clarinets, bassoons and sensula. Meanwhile, the celli are playing a tremolo line to provide some texture in there. The mod wheel controls the dynamics to shape the phrase towards each downbeat. Now on top of all this, we have our horn melody, and this is where the multi-key switches really come in handy. In this part, legato, staccato and marcato samples are combined by pressing multiple key switches at the same time. The legato articulation is controlled by the mod wheel, while the others are controlled by velocity. By varying these two parameters, you can adjust the articulation you want in real time. Let's have a listen how it is applied in this melody. So you see in the first two bars, there is more of a legato sound, with the additional articulations providing more definition to the attack. In bar 21 and 22, the higher key velocity makes the staccato and marcato stand out more and provide a more realistic phrasing. Also note the subtle mod wheel movements to shape the longer notes. This technique can also be used for intuitive live performance. Now this next section is essentially the same structure-wise, except the melody moves to cello and bassoon, while the staccato rhythm is taken over by trumpets and higher woodwinds. And here we have one of the most interesting sections. The basis of the arrangement is provided by harp, cymbals and tubular bells, creating an interesting harmonic texture. On top of this, cello and basses lay out a foundation, while tremolo violas extend the texture. And now the woodwinds, violins and sensula play quick descending trills with a little bit of chromatic color. These use mainly staccato articulations, but were played live on a keyboard, using different takes. As you see this way, the attacks of the notes don't all line up, so we get a more realistic, slightly smeared sound. Now the main melody of this part is in the brass, the trombone ensemble playing unison with the low brass, which is tuba and bass trombone. Later the horns come in for another statement of the main theme. All of these use the multi-key switches to layer staccato, marcato and sustain for extra bite and power. And with a few accents from percussions and trumpets, and the addition of a little choir, this completes the arrangement for this section. And now in the finale, all these techniques come together, using layered articulations throughout the multiple phrases and flourishes. We hope you enjoyed this quick walkthrough of the demo. If you'd like to explore the details of this arrangement further, there's a MIDI file available for download under a link in the video description. You can also visit sonoscore.com for more information or check out other videos about the orchestra. This has been Nick from Sonoscore, and I'll see you next time.